The Joker comes across Mr. Rogers while setting up bombs inside an old TV production warehouse. Mr. Rogers calmly begins talking to the Joker. A Fringly Reddit story. The headless body of the security guard slowly slumped to the floor. Satisfied, Joker smiled, taking a quick sniff, before tucking away the acid glower he had used to melt the poor man's head away. Super duper, he smirked. Like all of Joker's plans, this one was smart, slimline, and simple. He decided to storm the studio where a satellite feed was beaming the news live across the East Coast and hijack it to announce his latest heist. If it meant killing a few people who got in his way, Joker was fine with that too. To get to the live studio, it required passing by a number of sets, some still actively producing shows, but most half disassembled and packed away, the props gathering dust in the gloom of the old production warehouse. Only the East End was still in use, Gotham Nightly News using the space for its primetime set. Joker took his time, playing with the various things he found, an old walking cane that could perhaps be fitted with a gun, a set of dolls that had lost their hair at some point. Harley would like those. And finally, a big old box of puppets. Now, puppets weren't usually his thing, but Joker was nothing if not resourceful, and he wondered if these perhaps could be fitted with some sort of fingers-removing trap and handed out to children, to snip their fingertips off, just for fun. He idly turned one over in his hands, looking to see if a mechanism could fur into the head, when a voice came from the shadows. "I see you've met Henrietta Pussycat. She's an old friend of mine." Not many men could walk up to Joker unheard, but this one seemed to move particularly softly. Perhaps it was that he didn't stride, seeming to amble gently, or perhaps it was because he wore no shoes, only house slippers. "Looks like Kitty has a touch of the mange if you ask me. Might be time to put her down." The puppets seemed to have some meaning for him, and Joker looked for the pain in the old man's eyes. Instead, he held his hand out, letting it sit in the air a foot or so from the Joker. "Hi, I'm Mr. Rogers." Joker considered the hand, checking to look for a trap, and then carefully palming the joy buzzer into his own before taking it. Mr. Rogers jolted as the electricity surged into him, but he didn't cry out. Joker held tight and pulled him closer. "I bet you know who I am." At last, he let Mr. Rogers go, and the older man stepped back and sat down on some old boxes. He took a moment before he looked up again, but there was still no anger and no hostility in his eyes. "I guess I know who you are, sir, but then again, maybe I don't." He took a breath and pushed himself to his feet again. "I like to say that you don't really know a person until you've had a conversation with them, so maybe after this I'll have a new answer." For a second, Joker paused, before looking down to check his hand and ensure that the buzzer was on a high enough setting. It must have hurt like hell, but the man had made no sign and shown no anger. Still, he was as bad as the damn bat. "Right, conversation, knowing, yada yada, I guess, so old man. Maybe if you're lucky you'll live through this conversation, and we'll see what happens then, huh?" Carefully and deliberately, Joker raised Henrietta Pussycat to eye level before pulling her head clean from her body. "Guess that was the last of her 9 lives." He snickered. The 2 pieces dropped to the floor, and Mr. Rogers glanced down. For a moment, he looked a little glassy-eyed, but it was gone when he looked back up. "It's just a puppet, just a tool to help kids understand how the world works. Like a cat, she can be sewn back together. Nothing is ever broken so badly that it can't be fixed with a little love." The Joker's eyes rolled so hard that they almost made a noise. "Oh, please, don't give me that crap. I've cut enough bodies up to know that not everything goes back together. No matter how little you make the sticks, you always have a gallbladder or 2 left over." For the first time, Mr. Rogers seemed to stumble, but he found his words after a moment. He leaned back and looked up, as if summoning some greater willpower. "I can feel it, you know?" Against his better judgment, the Joker couldn't help himself. "Feel what? The end coming closer? My boredom? The stick shoved up your ass? Your pain?" For a moment there was silence. The Joker's mouth opened, but then closed again. "You hurt others, and I understand why. You have this pain inside you that you can't get rid of, and perhaps you think that by hurting other people, you'll make them take on a little of your pain, but I think that instead, you find that it just adds you yours and leaves you with more. Joker's chuckle was half-hearted. Look, old man, many have tried to psychoanalyze me, and they've ended up mad or dead and even. I forgive you. Mr. Rogers' words cut through the rant. What? I forgive you. I know you've done terrible things, but whatever you've done, you're a person and everyone needs love and forgiveness, and so I want you to know that I love you and I forgive you. Again, Joker's mouth opened and closed, but before he could react, Mr. Rogers had stepped forward and took him in an embrace. It was strange, not like the hard, angry embrace that Harley gave, or even the barely remembered embrace of his mother from so long ago. This was a real, genuine embrace, one with warmth and feeling, and for just a moment he let it happen. His senses returned, and he pushed back, and Mr. Rogers let him go, whispering to the Joker as he did so. I forgive you. Joker spun on his heel, disorientated and a little confused as to what was happening. He needed to get back to the plan and away from gentlemen in knitwear. Revolving 180 degrees, he found the only other man who could sneak up on him, an altogether less sympathetic figure, dressed all in Kevlar black. He might, but I don't.